We begin this half hour with a step toward justice for an unlikely historical figure.
On behalf of Mr. Homer Plessy, we have voted favorably today and will forward the application on to Governor John Bel Edwards post haste.
On Friday, a Louisiana board voted unanimously to pardon Homer Plessy. His arrest in 1892 led to the Supreme Court's Plessy versus Ferguson decision that established the separate but equal doctrine, allowing states to maintain racial segregation laws. It was overturned decades later in the landmark Brown versus the Board of Education case. Now, descendants of both Plessy and Ferguson, the Louisiana judge who made the initial ruling, were in Friday's hearing. Michelle Miller spoke to both of them ahead of the ruling's 125th year anniversary.
It's a friendship 2 decades strong between the descendants of two people who changed the course of American history.
I said, well, my name's Keith Plessy. I shook her hand. She said, I'm Phoebe Ferguson. And then she went on to apologize for segregation, slavery, discrimination, you name it. She was apologizing, and I had to say, "Oh, pump the brakes a little bit. You were not responsible for that. It's no longer Plessy versus Ferguson. It's Plessy and Ferguson."
Keith Plessy is the distant cousin of an African-American shoemaker turned activist. Homer Plessy was tapped to challenge what had become Louisiana's newest segregation law, the Separate Car Act of 1890.
He looked like a white person. He was 1/8 black, and he was selected to purchase that ticket. There was a group of people called the Citizens Committee who organized that.
A Louisiana state judge ruled against Plessy. His name, John Howard Ferguson. When the case made its way to the U.S. Supreme Court, all but one justice agreed. For years, Plessy, like Ferguson, was in the dark about his ancestors.
I never knew that I was related to him.
Phoebe, how did you find out about this?
Well, I just got a call one day. This gentleman had purchased my great-great-grandfather's house on Henry Clay, and he wanted to restore it. And he's saying, you know, I bought your great-great-grandfather's house, the judge in Plessy versus Ferguson. I did not know that.
Knowing, she says, got her and Plessy on a mission to doing. After being introduced by author Keith Weldon Medley, they created the Plessy and Ferguson Foundation.
We want people to understand what legacy is and not to wait until the end of your life to understand legacy, but to understand legacy at an early age.
Do you ever think, what if the ruling had been different?
Well, I think America had a chance to mend itself or begin at that time. But instead, after coming through a bloody civil war, a person like Homer Plessy had to go and ride a train and break a law in order to get their attention. Instead, the highest court in the nation sanctions separate but equal.
The most disastrous decision by the Supreme Court in American legal history.
The two think of themselves as memory preservationists, planting markers around New Orleans to honor Black resistance. Like this one near the railroad tracks where Homer Plessy was arrested.
Our unity can make a difference, and I am thrilled to be a part of that.
I think the world is my canvas right now, and the painting I'm going to make is one of peace.
He was first arrested 129 years ago, so it took that long to get the pardon.
Such a powerful piece and a reminder of why history is so important for people to understand, because the implications obviously are still with us today.
And the best line from that, Michelle's piece, we first did that a while back, was when he said, it's no longer Plessy versus Ferguson,
Right.
It's Plessy and
Absolutely.
Ferguson.
See what happens when we come together.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.